Hey, what's up? Hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Tiffany, and I know I have not posted a video in a couple of weeks. I have done some reading, and I do have a book review for Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake to share. But I also just recently started my new job this week, and we've got the typical like colds and my toddler's in full-time daycare for the first time. And so I've been spending all my extra time with her and just trying to keep up with everything and find routine. So I haven't been able to film that video, but I do have a quick video for you today because I want to share some books that I bought at a library book sale. So these books, I got this entire bag for $1. Everything in here for $1. And I saw I was actually on the library website because I have a book at a different location that came in, and I saw that they had the sale. And usually I find when libraries have sales where the whole bag is $1, they're like old books that they kind of can't get rid of, that maybe not a lot of people have an interest in or aren't in the best quality. So I went there today, not really expecting much, and it was a small selection, but for me, a great selection. And so I want to share the books that I got because I'm really, really excited about some of these. Some of these are books that I've been wanting to read, but just haven't, for one reason or another, haven't picked them up, or they take a while to come into the library, or every single time they come into the library, I'm trying to finish something else, and so then they end up being due before I can get to them. And then other books were kind of random, and I was like, why not throw them in? I recognize the author, or I recognize this book, and why not throw it in when it's literally not even going to make the cost of it go up more, because it's the whole bag for $1. I guess I can share too that I have this book that I've just purchased at a local bookstore, and I have the book cover or the dust jacket off because I'm in the process of reading it. But I also finally got in my copy of The Future is Peace by Aziz Abu Sarah, and Mauz Anan. I'm horrible with name pronunciation, and I hate that I am horrible with name pronunciation and always forget to look them up. But I have been wanting to read this, and I actually bought this from a small independent bookshop in my town. They're predominantly a kids bookstore, so I go in there sometimes with my little kiddo, but they also have a small selection of books, and you can order books through them. So I try to do that because I really am trying to minimize my book purchasing altogether, but especially new books. I am not wanting to work with Amazon. I'm not wanting to work with Barnes and Nobles and these big box companies that don't make the most ethical decisions in my mind, and instead support more local. So I was really excited to get into this. I literally have only read the first couple of pages. I figured I'd share that here while we're all here talking about books that are new to me anyways. But yeah, so let's get on to it. The first book that I have to share is a book that I picked up very randomly because I was like, hey, I've heard of this author, which is Leigh Bardugo. And so I thought, why not throw it in the bag? So this is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is my first book with colored edges, I think. I know that's a popular thing that they're doing now in especially fantasy or young adult books. But and the description is, fate can be changed, curses can be broken, in a shabby house on a shabby street. Sorry, my sinuses are killing me. Luzia Cotado uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers that the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Luzia use those gifts to better the family's social position. I'm not going to go through the rest of the description, but yeah, I thought this could be interesting, and I just picked it up randomly. So the next book that I purchased is All Fours by Miranda July, and I heard a description about this very briefly before, and I've heard pretty mixed reviews on this book. Some people, I think I've heard, think that this book is really well done. Some people think not so much. But the first paragraph of the description is, a semi-famous artist announces her plan to drive across country from Los Angeles to New York City. 30 minutes after leaving her husband and child at home, she spontaneously exits the freeway, checks into a nondescript motel, and immerses herself in an entirely different journey. So I'm kind of interested in how this book kind of tackles, from what I heard in previous reviews, it kind of tackles the balance that women have to do between who they are as, multidimensional human beings, and then their role as a mother. I don't know how true that is because I haven't read it yet, but I if that is true, I look forward to seeing like what this book does and what I think of it. So there's the second one. The third book that I picked up is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. I have been really wanting to read this. This is one of the books that I've actively been wanting to read, but I just haven't picked it up. So I was really, really happy to find a copy of this at the sale. And it's in, like, all of these are hardcover and in pretty good condition. So that's exciting. So this book description says, it's a beautiful day in Newport, Rhode Island, when Phoebe Stone arrives at the Grand Cornwall Inn wearing a green dress and gold heels. Not a bag in sight and alone. She's immediately mistaken by everyone in the lobby for one of the wedding people, but she's actually the only guest at the Cornwall who isn't here for the big event. Phoebe is here because she's dreamed of coming for years. She hoped to shuck oysters and take sunset sails with her husband, and now she's here without him at rock bottom and determined to have one last decadent splurge on herself. Meanwhile, the bride has accounted for every detail and every possible disaster the weekend might yield, except for, well, Phoebe and Phoebe's plan, which makes it that much more surprising when the two women can't stop confiding in each other. So yeah, I'm curious to see what I think about this. Fourth book that I picked up was a very, very random pickup. There wasn't a big non-fiction selection at this library book sale, but I did see this book, which is called On Killing Remotely, The Psychology of Killing with Drones by Lieutenant Colonel Wayne Phelps. And I don't know anything about this, but when I read the description, it talks about how it's looking at the ethics of remote military engagement, the misconceptions about PTSD among BPA operators, and the specter of military weapon controlled by robots. On Killing Remotely is an urgent and compelling reminder that it should always be difficult to kill another human being lest we risk losing what makes us human. And has there ever been a more freaking relevant time to talk about the ethics of killing people, let alone the ethics of killing people remotely where we can feel distant from it? That question is rhetorical because I think not. So that's the fourth book. The fifth book I picked up is Audition by Katie Kitamura. And honestly, I know nothing about this. This wasn't a fully random pickup, but I feel like there was, I don't even remember what like book YouTuber this was, but somebody that I watched talked about this and they said that they liked it. So I picked it up, but I don't really know what it's about. The description says, two people meet for lunch in a Manhattan restaurant. She's an accomplished actress in rehearsals for an upcoming premiere. He's attractive, troubling, young enough to be her son. Who is he to her and who is she to him? In this compulsively readable, brilliantly constructed novel, two competing narratives unspool, rewriting our understanding of the roles we play every day, partner, parent, creator, muse, and the truths every performance masks, especially from those who think they know us most intimately. So yeah, I thought, why not? I'll throw it in the bag, right? There's only a total of like, I think 8 books in here, so we're almost done. But the sixth book that I picked up is Dream Count by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I picked this up not knowing anything about the plot of this book, but just knowing the author. And actually, I really haven't read anything by her yet. I have one other book by her on my shelf, but I haven't read it yet. But I have read some of her essays and listened to some of her speeches and just have a feeling that I'm really going to like her. And so I picked this one up, and it says, Chiamaka is a Nigerian travel writer living in America. Alone in the midst of the pandemic, she recalls her past lovers and grapples with her choices and regrets. Zikora, her best friend, is a lawyer who has been successful at everything until, betrayed and brokenhearted, she must turn to the person she thought she needed last. Omalagor, I'm probably saying these names wrong, I apologize. Omalagor, Chiamaka's bold, outspoken cousin, is a financial powerhouse in Nigeria who begins to question how well she knows herself. And Kadiatu, Chiamaka's housekeeper, is proudly raising her daughter in America, but faces an unthinkable hardship that threatens all she has worked to achieve. In Dream Count, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie trains her fierce eye on these women in a sparkling, transcendent novel that takes up the very nature of love itself. Is true happiness ever attainable, or is it just a fleeting state? And how honest must we be with ourselves in order to love and be loved? So yeah, I look forward to seeing what I think about this. The second to last book that I got is a book that I have actively been wanting to read and haven't picked it up, and that is James by Percival Everett. I know that this is a kind of retake on Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain that I actually have never read. And so I hope I don't really have to know much about that book to get everything in here, but I am looking forward to read this. I've heard Percival Everett is an amazing author, so I really hope that I like this. And last but not least, I hope not anyways, I have The Dream Hotel by Leila Lalami. And again, this was a totally random pick. I just felt like I have seen this cover before and thought, okay, I'll throw it in the bag again. Why not? It's literally all of these for $1, which I can't get over. I feel like I've just gotten away with highway robbery, but like at no harm to anybody, and with books at the end of it. Like, that's the best feeling. So the description of this is: Sarah has just landed at LAX, returning home from a conference abroad, when agents from the Risk Assessment Administration pull her aside and inform her that she will soon commit a crime. Using data from her dreams, the RAA's algorithm has determined that she is at imminent risk of harming the person she loves most, her husband. For his safety, she must be kept under observation for 21 days. The agents transfer Sarah to a retention center where she is held with other dreamers, all of them women trying to prove their innocence from different crimes. With every deviation from the strict and ever-shifting rules of the facility, their stay is extended. Months pass and Sarah seems no closer to release. Then one day, a new resident arrives, disrupting the order of the facility and leading Sarah on a collision course with the very companies that have deprived her of freedom. So that sounds interesting, and also, again, hella relevant to today's times, where they are essentially using anything that you say on social media or beliefs that you have or political ideologies that you have to say that you will likely commit a violent crime. As in, for example, if you're a critic of this government or of the harms of capitalism in any way, they'll use that to say that you are at risk of potentially being a terrorist and committing horrible crimes. So that's where we're at. So that book seems relevant. Anyways, thank you for letting me share this really quick video. I can't believe that I got all of these for $1. And yeah, I look forward to talking with you all soon and sharing my thoughts on Girl Dinner, because boy, do I have a lot. So in the meantime, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye.